Hello and welcome. This is Borno Restoration. I am Jesse Tafida. On today's episode of the program, we will take you through the ongoing efforts by Governor Babagana Zulum towards bringing succor to survivors of the 13-year Boko Haram insurgency in the state. First, let's bring you the latest on Borno today. 13-year-old Yagana Umar, displaced with her mother from Mongono Local Council. She's been here for 3 years. Her father was killed by Boko Haram insurgents while fleeing from Mongono, leaving her and her siblings orphaned with no access to school. This is Yagana today. She's back to school, learning alongside her new friends. This was made possible due to efforts put in place by government, UNICEF, and Education Cannot Wait.
9 out of 10 school-age children in sub-Saharan Africa cannot read a simple text. 9 out of 10. That is called, and I'm a human rights lawyer, it's called injustice. Africa needs 17 million more children for primary and secondary education alone, and that requires international funding.
Are helping to facilitate access to safe and effective learning environment in the northeastern Nigeria. The fact is that no society can move forward if its girl child remains behind. And majority of the developmental challenges we have in the world today would be over.
As peace gradually returns to the state, sustaining educational intervention in schools across the region is needed. Education Cannot Wait investment in Northeast Nigeria have prioritized creating sustainable solutions and implementing the humanitarian development peace approach. These investments have facilitated access to learning materials for children, enhanced teacher training, and delivered crucial mental health and psychosocial support to girls and boys affected by the conflict, enabling them to recover and thrive. The 13-year Boko Haram insurgency has disrupted farming activities in Borno. But as peace gradually returns, mass displaced persons are back to their places of abode. And now that farmers are able to access their farmlands, the Victim Support Fund is giving out dry season farming inputs to boost agricultural produce.
We have been supporting farmers because the major area of support that the Victim Support targets is early recovery, which is how do you help people to settle back in their communities. And normally to help them to settle back, there are 4 major things that you need to do. You need to first of all make sure that they can earn a livelihood, that they can go back to what they were doing before. So we have been working with farmers, we have been working with women to empower them so that they can start doing what they were doing before the insurgency.
1,800 farmers of Gamboru and 1,200 farmers of Isge each received 25 kg bag of rice seedlings, 50 kg bags of fertilizer, 2 liters of insecticide, 1 liter of herbicide, and a knapsack sprayer.
In Nigeria, we cannot depend on only rain-fed farming. Dry season farming has also become very necessary. And we have also targeted dry season farming. And the way we do it in the Victim Support Fund is we don't just give farm inputs and go. We have trained extension workers, even before today, that are working with the farmers to help them, teach them new methods of farming.
The dry season farming is the only sustainable way of complementing the rain-fed agriculture, where the rain-fed agriculture is not sustainable. So we hope and pray this intervention will definitely be a success.
With hopes of boosting food production, the Victim Support Fund believes that dry season farming is one sure way of achieving robust yield. Beneficiaries say This gesture will go a long way in providing livelihood for them and their families. Thus, high-powered delegation make their entry into the Government House, Maiduguri. Chairman of the delegation is the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Richard Montgomery. They are here to hear from the state government on the successes recorded so far in addressing the humanitarian needs of survivors of the 13-year insurgency and plans ahead.
This is an ancient state on a series of ancient trading and pilgrimage routes with renowned centers of learning and a deep history and traditions, and we wish to signal our respect for those that history and those traditions. Our visit here has a number of aims, and I think a number of us have said that not many of us have been to Maiduguri personally. We have teams that may have been here in some detail and been here many times, but for many of us working at ambassadorial or head of agency level, we only come occasionally. So this is a very important visit for this group. I confess I came here 12 years ago on my first visit, but this is the first time since I returned to Nigeria last year that I have managed to make it here. But what are our aims today? We want to understand recent progress and also to better understand the present situation, and also, of course, your future plans for the state, and in particular to discuss what are the safe and durable solutions that are possible to address this big challenge of improving the livelihoods of so many internally displaced people. And what we see here today in Borno is also relevant for understanding what is going on in the rest of northeast Nigeria, Adamawa and Yobe. And so on today's visit, we look forward to seeing a few of the government's initiatives and programs, the situation in some of the settlements, hopefully with not just Your Excellency, but your team and indeed the area commander on these government plans for the immediate future, for the next few years. And the main aim of our visit is to understand Your Excellency's state strategy for durable solutions for displacement, a document which we've seen a summary of. Thank you very much to you and your team. And for us to understand some of the components of that, its milestones, its resourcing. So those are the aims, I think, that the delegation would share an interest in. And before I end, I just wanted to say that we recognize that the last decade or so has been extremely tough, extremely challenging for many people in Borno State and the Lake Chad Basin. And while great strides have been made, clearly the conflict still persists in parts of this region. And so while we should absolutely capitalize on the potential for development in line with your 25-year plan and your state strategies for durable solutions, there are clearly some areas and remain many people that have desperate humanitarian needs. So getting that balance right, I think, is the key problem or challenge that this group wishes to understand and debate with you and understand your plans. Before I end, I do want to pay tribute. I want to pay tribute to the armed forces and other agencies in their efforts to combat terrorism and achieve stability and security. And I'm also sure that many of us would wish to pay tribute to the communities and leaders that are supporting people to build new lives, and to the frontline responders that are providing humanitarian support to the most vulnerable people in the state. So in summary, we wish to discuss recent progress, the remaining challenges, your strategies, and I would reiterate we have huge confidence in your commitment, in your leadership, in the vision that you're laying out, and the positive change you're trying to bring for your people. And I very much hope that our discussions today can identify ways in which we can get behind you and your plans.
The State Governor Babagina Zulum is delighted to receive this high-powered delegation. He expressed his administration's commitment in addressing the humanitarian crisis bedeviling the state. But relocating displaced persons back to their ancestral home remains his priority.
I will urge you to look into the eyes of the young people you will meet. Their eyes and smiles express their deep hope and yearnings, which I believe we can together explore and seek to satisfy. The young men and women have dreams to be better than we can imagine. The parents have ambitions of making the lives of their children better than theirs, and indeed change the trajectory of their families and lineage. During your visit on December 11, 2023, I shared with you the summary of our approach to humanitarian, resilience, peace building, security, and development, which is an intertwined matrix, none waiting for the other. I also shared with you what we did in the first 4 years and our plans for the next 3 years, as envisioned in our 25 years development framework and 10 years strategic transformative initiative. The most important thing we accomplished in the last 4 years was improving the security of lives and property, building trust and resilience, and giving hope especially to the people that it is possible to have peace and that we can indeed together not only build back Borno, but can do so better than it was prior to the insurgency. We are only able to achieve what we did with your support, and in particular, the support of the RSF and the technical assistance and partnership of the regional office of the RSF in Maiduguri. I also shared with you that over the next 3 years, we will consolidate the gains we had and continue to improve security and peace in a sustainable way through the Borno model for peace, reconciliation and development, human capital development for youth, and job creation through technical and vocational training for especially women and young people, while ensuring all children, boys and girls, have solid education to prepare them to be global citizens and more. We are therefore excited at the opportunity to be part of the UNSG Global Solutions to Internally Displacement Initiative. Mr. William, you're welcome. You spent about 2 days or 3 days in Maiduguri. Thank you very much for the hospitality you have accorded to us during my last visit to your office. This will support the implementation of our development plan by giving dignity and inclusion to the nearly 2 million IDPs living in camps and about 500,000 other displaced persons in the rebuilding efforts of the state as equal citizens. This is more than a quarter of our population, most of whom are women and children, and the most vulnerable members of our society. The Borno State Solutions to Internal Displacement was developed in consultation with relevant MDAs and our stakeholders, traditional and religious leaders, humanitarian and development partners, CSOs, women, youth, and representatives of internally displaced persons. The plan is aligned with all relevant international, national, and our domestic policies, with the central objective of providing dignity for IDPs and ensuring that their rights are protected. The Borno State government is committed to ensure that all residents, irrespective of social status, gender, cultural, religious, and other diversities, have a place to call home. The Borno State government is committed to work with communities and relevant partners to address the immediate needs and root causes of the displacement. This entails a commitment to give IDPs what they need to reclaim their lives, rights and dignity, as well as restore and develop infrastructure, ensure safety and security, encourage economic growth, strengthen gender equity, and foster sustainable development that will ensure no one is left behind. With a whole of community approach, the Borno State government will support people affected by displacement to build their lives with a focus on the three objectives that form part of the continuum to address risks and needs faced by vulnerable population, while also building solutions pathways to end protracted displacement and strengthen the capacity of people and institutions to thrive and respond to any future crisis. The objectives are: 1, addressing immediate needs of internally displaced persons by providing assistance and protection to people affected by internal displacement with a view to supporting a longer-term sustainable approach. This entails addressing immediate humanitarian, protection, and disaster relief needs for all IDPs in line with relevant policies and international standards and response plans. 2, implementing durable solutions, supporting pathways to secure durable and sustainable solutions to displacement for IDPs currently living in camps by supporting them to: 1, return to places of origin, B, integrate into local communities where there is peace, C, relocation to other communities that are secured enough. This involves supporting pathways that will ensure that every resident in the state lives a secure, healthy, productive, and dignified life and have the opportunity to contribute to development of their families and communities. Building resilience is the core of our government effort across all the 9 pillars of our development plan, strengthening capacities of people and institutions to prevent, reduce, and respond to any future causes and risks of displacement. This will entail continuing to implement the developmental plan, strengthening our climate resilience, disaster preparedness and management, pandemic preparedness, and data management systems, all of which are essential elements of long-term peace and security necessary for prevention of internal displacement. While we continue to support our people internally displaced with what they need immediately, my government is committed to implementing the durable solution pathways for over 2 million citizens over the next 3 years, so that by April 2027, the 2.5 million displaced persons, 2 million of whom live in IDP camps, will be returned to their local government of origin, resettled in other communities, or integrated into host communities based on their individual choices and preferences. I'm committed to ensure these citizens of Borno and Nigeria have a place to call home where they will live in dignity and build their lives. Let me once again assure you that the resettlement will be conducted based on the Kampala Convention, based on dignity. In order for us to do this, we also need to build 85,000 houses, with each having 4 units of 2-bedroom houses for 335,947 households in 66 communities across the state. Each of these communities will have schools, clinics, police force, marketplaces and stores, boreholes, and secure farmlands and vocational training centers where appropriate. I'm committed to resettling these people into decent homes in secure areas only, supporting them to reintegrate into communities or relocate to other places as they may wish, respecting their choices and dignity. Implementing the durable solutions pathway for IDPs will also significantly reduce the recurrent recruitment of jobless young men by ISWAP, which is a threat to national and international security. And I also want to assure you that return shall be a voluntary one. Only those that are willing to return to their respective communities will be allowed to go back. All those that are willing to stay back within Maiduguri, government of Borno State, in partnership with the international community, will provide a place for them within Maiduguri or within the host communities of respective LGAs for them to resettle. This effort requires significant investment. I strongly believe that with your support, we can raise the 2.7 billion USD required to implement the solutions pathway of this plan in record time and set the stage for global learning and give hope not only to displaced persons in Nigeria, but also the millions across the world that indeed there is hope and people care. The Borno State government will commit 15% of its annual budget to the solutions pathways. As you all know, the remaining 85% will go to security and building resilience through implementation of our strategic transformation initiatives of the 25-year development plan, such as recruiting more teachers and nurses for the community, food security, human capital development, strengthening climate resilience, and creating enabling environment for private sector participation. We will continue the expansion of the city of Maiduguri into a mega city along the 6 entrances of the city. This expansion will accommodate people who may choose to integrate into Maiduguri and cater for rural-urban migration and reduce congestion. The Durable Solution Strategy has a governance structure that involves relevant stakeholders at national and state level that will ensure transparency, accountability, as well as monitoring, learning, and evaluation. This commitment will require that we all truly and objectively align our activities and resources to each of these objectives and work in partnership and coordination. We are grateful for the leadership support of the UN Secretary, Mr. Antonio Guterres, the DSG Amina Mohammed, the Special Envoy Robert Pfeiffer, and all members of the Northeast Ambassadors Group for your interest in finding durable solutions to internal displacement. I hope all of you will rally around us when we will launch this plan, hopefully in April 2024, and set the ball rolling towards implementation. Our prayers. 1. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our prayers are that you will continue to support us in our quest to improve security and support people to live in dignity that all people deserve. 2. I implore you to continue to be good friends and partners of Borno State and trusting us to live in navigating this opportunity that when implemented will be life-transforming for not only 2 million people currently living in camps, but additional 3 million living in affected communities. It is only by government taking leadership that durable solutions can be found. I need you also to be our advocates and champions to the global community. We appreciate your support for the Regional Stabilization Facility and the 1 UN offer, and pray that you continue to support the RSF. Government, the RSF to support this initiative, government has been doing in building stabilization and resilience building effort of the government. Let me once again commend the Regional Stabilization Office here in Maiduguri. The UNDP sub-office in Maiduguri are doing very well. And the RSF has contributed immensely to the growth and development of Borno State. Many communities were built and many were resettled in a dignified manner. And therefore, we want you to continue supporting the RSF stabilization facility. Recently, we started receiving donations into our 1 UN offer basket. Especially, we received donation from Germany of 10 million euros. We also received donation from UK. We sincerely acknowledge all these contributions, and we hope to see many of you contributing to the basket very soon. I urge you to strengthen your commitment and resolve to join the UNSG and I in finding durable solutions to internal displacement by increasing your country's financial commitment to funding this initiative, and your technical teams and implementation partners actively engage and support the government leadership in this process.
The British High Commissioner to Nigeria and other ambassadors here promised to work with the Borno state government to ensure that survivors of the 13-year insurgency are properly catered for. And that's our package on this episode of Borno Restoration. Thanks for being part of it. I'm Jessie Tafida. See you next time. Bye-bye.